Ever noticed how the quietest person in the room often has the most profound insights? While others compete for attention, there's always that one individual silently analyzing everything, seeing patterns others miss, and making calculated moves that leave everyone wondering how they got 3 steps ahead. That's not coincidence or luck. It's the manifestation of a unique cognitive framework that sets certain men apart from the conventional thinkers around them. In a world obsessed with flashy displays of intelligence, the most formidable minds operate in the shadows, unburdened by the need for validation or applause. Welcome to the Sigma male community, where we explore the hidden dimensions of masculine excellence that mainstream society either misunderstands or deliberately ignores. Today we're diving deep into the 11 unconventional mental traits that give Sigma males their distinctive edge, not just in IQ, but in the sophisticated, multidimensional intelligence that truly matters in navigating life's complexities. The traits we'll explore today aren't taught in schools or celebrated in conventional success literature. They're the subtle, often misunderstood cognitive patterns that emerge when a man steps outside social hierarchies and develops his mind according to his own internal compass rather than external expectations. These aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical mental frameworks that have empowered history's most impactful thinkers, from Stoic philosophers who maintained clarity amidst chaos to modern innovators who revolutionized entire industries by seeing what others couldn't. What makes these traits particularly fascinating is how they contradict much of what society tells us about intelligence, success, and mental strength. Each of these 11 traits represents a different facet of the Sigma cognitive advantage, from the observer's mastery that transforms everyday interactions into data collection opportunities, to the strategic overpreparation that turns potential disasters into mere inconveniences. We'll examine how emotional detachment creates mental clarity when others are clouded by feelings, how targeted questioning cuts through social performances to reveal hidden truths, and how embracing confusion leads to deeper understanding than premature certainty ever could. These aren't just personality quirks, they're sophisticated mental technologies that give Sigma males their reputation for being several moves ahead in life's complex game. As we explore these traits, I invite you to recognize aspects of yourself in them, not to label or categorize yourself, but to understand and refine the natural cognitive strengths you already possess. The Sigma male isn't trying to be something he's not. He's simply embracing and developing what comes naturally to him. Whether you identify with one trait or all 11, this exploration will give you practical insights for sharpening your mental edge and navigating life with greater strategic clarity. The Stoic philosophers understood that true power comes not from controlling others but from mastering oneself. And these 11 traits represent different pathways to that essential self-mastery that defines the Sigma mindset. 1. The observer's mastery, beyond book learning. While most men waste energy trying to demonstrate their intelligence through endless debate and posturing, the Sigma male has discovered a far more powerful approach, becoming a silent anthropologist of human behavior. This isn't passive watching, it's active data collection from the raw laboratory of life itself. The Sigma mind absorbs the unspoken language of human interaction, deciphering micro-expressions, detecting subtle shifts in group dynamics, and cataloging behavioral patterns that remain completely invisible to the distracted eye. This relentless observation builds an unparalleled, instinctive street IQ, a deep, practical understanding of motives, truths, and social undercurrents that theoretical knowledge alone could never replicate. Consider how this plays out in real situations. While others are busy talking about themselves or scrolling through their phones, the Sigma is quietly mapping the room, noticing which person flinches slightly when certain topics arise, which supposed friends subtly undermine each other, and which quiet individual actually holds the most influence. This isn't about being judgmental. It's about seeing reality clearly, without the distortion of social pretense or wishful thinking. The ancient Stoics understood this principle well. True wisdom begins with seeing things as they actually are, not as we wish them to be or as others pretend them to be. The Sigma male embodies this philosophy not through academic study but through moment-by-moment practice in the laboratory of daily life. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it compounds over time. Each interaction becomes a data point, each observation adds to a growing mental model of human behavior that becomes increasingly accurate and predictive. While others remain perpetually confused by unexpected betrayals or surprising outcomes, the Sigma recognizes the patterns that made these events inevitable. This isn't cynicism, It's clarity. By learning the dance by studying the dancers, not just reading the choreography notes, the Sigma develops an intuitive understanding that feels almost like a superpower to those who haven't developed this capacity. In business negotiations, romantic relationships, or navigating complex social dynamics, this observational mastery gives the Sigma male an almost unfair advantage. The beauty of this trait is that it's available to anyone willing to quiet their own ego and truly pay attention. Most men are so busy thinking about what to say next, how they're being perceived, or how to dominate the conversation that they miss the wealth of information constantly being broadcast around them. The Sigma male has learned that true power comes not from being the loudest voice but from being the most perceptive observer. As Marcus Aurelius noted, no man is free who is not master of himself, and mastery begins with observation. By developing this trait, the Sigma male builds a foundation of understanding that informs every other aspect of his intelligence. 2. The strategic overpreparer, embracing the what-if. While the average man drifts through life assuming things will generally work out, the Sigma male approaches critical situations with a chess player's foresight, mapping multiple moves ahead and preparing for contingencies others haven't even considered. This isn't pessimism or anxiety, it's sophisticated risk calculus. For ventures that truly matter, the Sigma meticulously maps contingencies, plan B, C, and even D, not wasting energy on every minor possibility, but targeting preparation for high-stakes scenarios where failure would be truly costly. This rigorous mental rehearsal builds profound resilience that becomes apparent when chaos erupts and everyone else is frozen in panic while the Sigma smoothly shifts gears, drawing from a pre-visualized playbook. The Stoic philosophers understood this principle deeply. As Seneca advised, the wise man looks ahead. He considers future events as if they were present. The Sigma male embodies this wisdom not through philosophical contemplation but through practical preparation. Consider how this manifests in real life. Before an important job interview, while others merely rehearse standard answers, the Sigma has researched the company's challenges, prepared solutions, anticipated difficult questions, and even mapped the building's layout to arrive precisely on time. Before a major life transition, while others leap blindly forward, the Sigma has calculated financial requirements, identified potential obstacles, and created backup plans that transform what would be catastrophes for others into mere inconveniences. What makes this trait particularly powerful is the psychological freedom it creates. Paradoxically, by thoroughly preparing for the worst, the Sigma male liberates himself from worry and can engage more fully with the present. While others are subconsciously distracted by unaddressed risks, the Sigma has already confronted and planned for them, clearing his mind for complete focus on the task at hand. This isn't about eliminating spontaneity, it's about creating a secure foundation that actually enables greater freedom and bold action. The peace of mind derived from knowing he's anticipated the worst paradoxically frees the Sigma to engage more boldly with the present challenge, taking calculated risks that others would find too intimidating. This strategic overpreparation becomes a competitive advantage in virtually every domain of life. In business, the Sigma male isn't blindsided by market shifts because he's already considered them. In relationships, he's not devastated by challenges because he's emotionally prepared for the full spectrum of human behavior. In personal development, he doesn't abandon goals at the first obstacle because he anticipated resistance and prepared countermeasures. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The Sigma male embodies this principle by extensively preparing what is in his power, which gives him the resilience to handle whatever happens with calm competence rather than reactive panic. 3. The detached analyst, emotional distance as armor. When emotional tsunamis hit, whether panic, pressure, or heated conflict, the Sigma male possesses a remarkable ability to mentally step outside the situation, creating psychological distance that transforms his perspective. This detachment is often misinterpreted as coldness or lack of feeling, but it's actually a sophisticated form of strategic disengagement that preserves clear thinking when others are mentally hijacked by their emotions. By creating this psychological space, the Sigma instantly gains an aerial perspective where others remain trapped in the fog of feeling. Neuroscience confirms what the Sigma intuitively knows. Emotional hijacking narrows focus and impairs decision-making, while calm detachment unlocks broader, more creative problem-solving pathways. The Stoics recognized this principle centuries ago. As Epictetus taught, Make it your study to distinguish between things that are in your power and things that are not. Emotions themselves may arise involuntarily, but how we relate to them remains within our control. The Sigma male doesn't suppress emotions or deny their existence. He simply refuses to be governed by them. In practice, this looks like maintaining composure during a heated argument when others are shouting, making clear-headed decisions during a crisis when others are paralyzed by fear, or staying focused on solutions when others are consumed by blame and resentment. While others are blinded by fear or rage, the Sigma sees the escape routes, the leverage points, and the solutions hidden in plain sight. This emotional detachment creates a significant competitive advantage across all domains of life. In negotiations, the Sigma isn't manipulated by artificial time pressure or emotional appeals because he remains analytically detached. In personal conflicts, he doesn't say things he'll regret because he's not speaking from temporary emotion but from his core principles. In market volatility, he doesn't panic sell investments because he's separated his decision-making from the contagious fear around him. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about choosing when and how to engage with emotions rather than being unconsciously driven by them. The Sigma understands that emotions are valuable signals but dangerous masters. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it compounds over time, creating a reputation for unshakable reliability and clear judgment. While others are known for emotional volatility and inconsistency, the Sigma becomes the person others turn to during crises precisely because of his ability to remain clear-headed when everyone else is losing perspective. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The Sigma male embodies this principle not through philosophical contemplation but through daily practice, gradually strengthening his ability to create mental distance from emotional storms. This doesn't mean suppressing authentic feelings. It means developing the capacity to choose thoughtful responses rather than being driven by reactive emotions. 4. The question that unmasks piercing the performance. In a world of endless small talk and social performances, the Sigma male has developed an uncanny ability to cut through facades with precisely targeted questions that reveal what's actually happening beneath the surface. While others engage in predictable conversational patterns, the Sigma listens beyond words, detecting hesitations, rehearsed lines, and the faint tremors of hidden truth. Then, with surgical precision, he asks the one question everyone avoids, quiet, unexpected, bypassing the social script entirely. Why that choice really? Or, what's the unspoken cost here? It's not aggression or interrogation. It's profound curiosity seeking the unvarnished reality beneath polished presentations. This ability stems from the Sigma's fundamental disinterest in social performances and his genuine desire to understand what's actually happening rather than what people pretend is happening. The ancient Stoics valued this pursuit of truth above social comfort. As Epictetus noted, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The Sigma embodies this principle by being willing to ask the questions others avoid, even if it momentarily creates discomfort or marks him as someone who doesn't play along with social pretenses. In business meetings, while others nod along with flawed proposals, the Sigma calmly asks about the unaddressed risks. In personal relationships, while others accept superficial explanations, the Sigma gently probes for the deeper motivations that actually drive behavior. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it disrupts facades without creating unnecessary conflict. The Sigma's questions aren't designed to embarrass or expose, they're offered with genuine curiosity and respect. This approach often creates moments of authentic connection precisely because it bypasses the exhausting performance aspects of social interaction. People who initially feel challenged by the Sigma's questions frequently end up feeling deeply seen and understood, sometimes for the first time. This isn't about being confrontational, it's about creating space for honesty in a world drowning in pretense. The Sigma understands that real connection and effective decision-making can only happen when people engage with reality rather than comfortable fictions. This questioning ability extracts insights that superficial conversations never yield, giving the Sigma male access to information and understanding that remains hidden to others. In career advancement, he identifies the actual requirements for success rather than the stated ones. In investments, he uncovers the real risks rather than the marketed narrative. In relationships, he understands people's authentic needs rather than their performed desires. As Seneca observed, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and the Sigma's questions cut through imagination to reveal reality. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds a more accurate mental model of how the world actually works rather than how it's presented, allowing him to navigate with greater precision and effectiveness than those who remain trapped in social performances. 5. The solitary confusion embrace, the courage to not know. When faced with groupthink chanting a flawed idea, the Sigma male possesses the rare courage to stand alone and admit, "I don't get it." While others nod along to avoid appearing ignorant, the Sigma willingly endures the discomfort of temporary confusion rather than the lasting peril of collective error. This stems from an uncompromising need for cognitive closure, a deep wiring that prioritizes genuine understanding over the cheap dopamine of social approval. The Sigma recognizes that pretending to understand when you don't is not just dishonest but dangerous, leading to cascading errors in judgment that compound over time. You would rather be temporarily confused than permanently wrong. The Stoics recognized this principle centuries ago, as Epictetus taught, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." The Sigma embodies this wisdom by being willing to appear momentarily ignorant in pursuit of genuine understanding. In practice, this looks like asking clarifying questions in meetings when others pretend to follow along, admitting when he doesn't have enough information to form an opinion when others leap to judgment, or stepping back to reconsider his position when new evidence emerges rather than doubling down to save face. The Sigma dissects complexity alone, refusing to parrot surface-level consensus that doesn't actually make sense when examined closely. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it builds a foundation of rock-solid knowledge while others build on sand. The Sigma's understanding is genuine and thorough precisely because he's willing to endure the discomfort of confusion rather than accepting premature or flawed explanations. This creates a compound advantage over time. While others accumulate a patchwork of half-understood concepts and unexamined assumptions, the Sigma builds an integrated framework of knowledge where each piece connects logically to the others. Years later, when the crowd wonders why their certainty crumbled, the Sigma's clarity stands firm precisely because it was built through honest engagement with confusion rather than premature closure. This willingness to embrace confusion rather than feign understanding becomes particularly valuable in rapidly changing environments where outdated mental models quickly become liabilities. In technological disruption, the Sigma admits what he doesn't understand and learns while others pretend expertise and fall behind. In market shifts, he acknowledges uncertainty and adapts while others cling to comfortable but obsolete frameworks. In personal growth, he confronts his limitations honestly while others maintain flattering self-deceptions that prevent improvement. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth." The Sigma male embodies this principle not through philosophical contemplation but through daily practice, embracing confusion as the necessary path to genuine clarity. 6. The mental replay architect, decoding hidden layers. For most people, a conversation ends when the words stop, but for the Sigma male, pivotal interactions continue to yield insights long after they've concluded. Hours or even days later, his mind meticulously replays dialogues with formidable or fascinating individuals, analyzing not just words but cadence, pauses, micro-expressions, and telling omissions, the architecture beneath the surface communication. This isn't anxious rumination or social overthinking. It's deliberate forensic analysis designed to extract maximum understanding from significant interactions. The Sigma treats important conversations as texts to be studied rather than merely experienced, allowing him to perceive patterns and meanings that remain invisible to those who process interactions only in the moment. The Stoics understood the value of this reflective practice. As Seneca advised, "Each day acquire something that will fortify you against poverty, against death, indeed against other misfortunes as well." The Sigma embodies this wisdom by treating each significant interaction as an opportunity to acquire deeper understanding of human nature and strategy. In practice, this looks like mentally revisiting a negotiation to identify the exact moment leverage shifted, replaying a complex explanation to extract the core principles that weren't explicitly stated, or analyzing a conflict to recognize the underlying values that weren't directly expressed. This quiet post-game review transforms fleeting exchanges into profound lessons on human nature, motivation, and strategy. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it accelerates learning and pattern recognition far beyond what's possible through in-the-moment processing alone. While others need to experience the same situation repeatedly to recognize patterns, the Sigma extracts multiple layers of insight from a single interaction through careful mental replay. This creates a compound advantage in understanding people and situations. The Sigma builds an internal library of behavioral wisdom that allows him to navigate complex dynamics with unusual sophistication. In leadership, he quickly discerns what motivates different team members by analyzing their communication patterns. In negotiations, he identifies leverage points by noticing subtle shifts in confidence or emphasis. In relationships, he understands unspoken needs by attending to the emotional subtext beneath stated positions. This mental replay capacity becomes particularly valuable in high-stakes situations where subtle details can have significant consequences. In strategic partnerships, the Sigma notices inconsistencies that reveal potential problems before they materialize. In complex decisions, he identifies unstated assumptions that might undermine otherwise sound reasoning. In competitive environments, he recognizes tells and patterns that provide strategic advantage. As Marcus Aurelius noted, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The Sigma male embodies this principle by deliberately choosing to process and analyze significant interactions rather than letting them wash over him without deeper examination. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds an increasingly sophisticated understanding of human behavior that compounds over time, allowing him to navigate social and strategic landscapes with unusual precision. 7. The pattern recognition engine, seeing the invisible web. Where others see isolated events, the Sigma male perceives the connective tissue that links seemingly unrelated occurrences into meaningful patterns. His brain is wired to detect subtle repetitions, thematic echoes, and causal chains across disparate situations and people. A gesture here, a reaction there, a recurring outcome elsewhere. These dots connect into a map of underlying principles that reveal how systems actually function beneath their surface appearances. This isn't mystical intuition or confirmation bias. It's hyper-developed cognitive pattern matching honed by relentless observation and mental replay of significant interactions. This pattern recognition allows the Sigma to predict behaviors, anticipate outcomes, and understand systems, social, professional, personal, with startling accuracy, often foreseeing consequences long before they manifest. The Stoics valued this capacity for recognizing underlying patterns. As Marcus Aurelius observed, nothing happens to anyone that he is not fitted by nature to bear. The Sigma embodies this wisdom by recognizing that patterns, once identified, reveal the underlying nature of people and systems. In practice, this looks like noticing that a company's communication style reflects its actual values more accurately than its mission statement, recognizing that a person's small behaviors in casual settings predict how they'll act in high-stakes situations, or identifying the common factors in successful ventures that aren't captured in conventional analysis. The Sigma doesn't just observe. He connects observations across time and context to reveal the deeper structures governing outcomes. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it transforms apparent complexity into navigable patterns. While others feel overwhelmed by the chaotic nature of events, the Sigma perceives the underlying order that makes situations predictable and manageable. This creates a significant advantage in virtually every domain. The Sigma can anticipate market shifts before they're obvious, predict relationship dynamics before they unfold, and identify emerging opportunities before they become competitive. This isn't about having a crystal ball, it's about paying attention to the subtle signals that most people miss and connecting them into meaningful patterns that reveal what's likely to happen next. This pattern recognition becomes particularly valuable in environments characterized by information overload and rapid change. In investment decisions, the Sigma identifies emerging trends by connecting disparate data points that others treat as unrelated. In career strategy, he recognizes industry shifts before they're widely acknowledged by noticing subtle changes in multiple domains. In relationship dynamics, he understands the underlying patterns that predict outcomes rather than being repeatedly surprised by unexpected developments. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. The Sigma male embodies this principle by focusing not just on individual events but on the patterns that connect them, allowing him to react strategically rather than being perpetually surprised. By developing this trait, The Sigma builds an increasingly accurate mental model of how complex systems actually function, giving him a significant advantage in navigating them effectively. 8. The anti-herding instinct rewired reward system. Mainstream pursuits often leave the Sigma male strangely cold, as if his internal reward system is calibrated to a fundamentally different frequency than the crowd around him. He instinctively questions the value of things chased by the herd, status symbols, trending opinions, conventional career ladders, not out of contrarianism, but from a genuine inability to derive satisfaction from pursuits that lack intrinsic value to him personally. The Sigma's reward system is wired differently. He derives deep satisfaction from mastery, autonomy, truth, and unconventional solutions that others might not even recognize as achievements. What the crowd perceives as missing out is actually a deliberate bypassing of hollow pursuits that would drain his energy without providing genuine fulfillment. The Stoics recognized this principle centuries ago. As Seneca observed, the greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. The Sigma embodies this wisdom by naturally filtering out socially programmed wants that don't align with his authentic values. In practice, this looks like pursuing a less prestigious but more intellectually stimulating career path, choosing to develop a valuable skill rather than displaying status markers, or investing in experiences that provide genuine growth rather than social media moments. This isn't about being superior or judgmental. It's about having an internal compass that points toward authentic value rather than social validation. The Sigma doesn't need to actively resist mainstream pursuits. He simply doesn't find them compelling in the first place. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it frees immense energy and focus to invest in paths that hold genuine intrinsic value. While others exhaust themselves chasing socially approved goals that leave them strangely empty upon achievement, the Sigma channels his resources toward pursuits that provide lasting satisfaction and compound advantages. This creates a significant life advantage. The Sigma builds skills, knowledge, and experiences that have enduring value while others accumulate status markers that quickly depreciate. In career development, he focuses on becoming genuinely excellent rather than merely appearing successful. In relationships, he builds authentic connections rather than impressive networks. In personal growth, he pursues meaningful development rather than visible achievements. This rewired reward system becomes particularly valuable in environments characterized by social contagion and mimetic desire, where people want things primarily because others want them. In consumer decisions, the Sigma remains unmoved by trends and status games, preserving both financial resources and attention for what truly matters to him. In life planning, he designs a path based on his authentic interests rather than socially approved milestones. In time allocation, he invests in activities that provide genuine fulfillment rather than social currency. As Marcus Aurelius advised, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The Sigma male embodies this principle by naturally filtering pursuits through the question of intrinsic value rather than social approval. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds a life optimized for genuine satisfaction rather than external validation, leading to unique innovations and profound personal fulfillment often missed by the consensus-driven. 9. The internal compass calibration, self as primary study. While most men direct their analytical powers outward, the Sigma male turns his observational prowess inward with ruthless objectivity, studying his own reactions, triggers, biases, and habits as dispassionately as he would a fascinating subject. Why did that annoy me? What pattern does this behavior reveal about my thinking? What's the actual source of my resistance here? This constant self-audit isn't self-flagellation or neurotic overthinking. It's radical self-awareness engineering designed to refine his internal compass through meticulous self-study. The Sigma understands that he can't navigate external complexity effectively if his own internal landscape remains unmapped and unexamined. This deep self-knowledge becomes the bedrock of his unwavering autonomy and decision-making confidence. The Stoics placed tremendous emphasis on this self-examination. As Epictetus taught, make it your study not to be carried away by excitement. The Sigma embodies this wisdom by treating his own reactions as data points worthy of careful analysis rather than taking them at face value. In practice, this looks like noticing patterns in what triggers defensive responses, identifying the actual values behind emotional reactions, or recognizing how past experiences shape current perceptions in ways that may no longer serve him. This isn't about indulging in endless introspection. It's about developing a precisely calibrated internal guidance system that allows for more effective navigation of external challenges. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it creates freedom from unconscious programming and reactive patterns. While others remain trapped in automatic responses they don't understand, the Sigma develops the capacity to pause, examine his reactions, and choose responses aligned with his actual values rather than conditioned habits. This creates a significant advantage in virtually every domain. The Sigma can override unproductive emotional reactions, recognize when his thinking is distorted by biases, and align his actions with his authentic priorities rather than unconscious programming. This isn't about suppressing emotions or natural responses. It's about understanding them deeply enough to make conscious choices rather than being driven by unexamined impulses. This internal compass calibration becomes particularly valuable in environments characterized by complexity, pressure, and competing priorities. In high-stakes decisions, the Sigma distinguishes between fear-based hesitation and legitimate caution by examining the source of his resistance. In conflicts, he identifies his own contribution to problems rather than defaulting to blame. In personal development, he targets the actual roots of limitations rather than their surface manifestations. As Marcus Aurelius advised, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig. The Sigma male embodies this principle by continuously examining and refining his internal landscape rather than taking it for granted. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds an increasingly accurate understanding of his own machinery, allowing him to operate with unusual clarity and intentionality in a world where most remain driven by unexamined impulses and conditioning. 10. The cognitive dissonance alchemist, transforming discomfort into fuel. Where most flee mental discomfort, the Sigma male has developed a remarkable capacity to lean into cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable clash between belief and evidence or desire and reality. Rather than avoiding information that challenges his existing views or defending against evidence that contradicts his preferences, the Sigma recognizes cognitive dissonance not as a threat but as a potent signal for growth. He actively seeks out information and experiences that challenge his current models, viewing the friction between expectation and reality as the crucible where outdated ideas are melted down and stronger, more accurate understandings are forged. The Sigma embraces the temporary pain of being wrong as the necessary cost of evolving toward greater intellectual integrity and effectiveness. The Stoics understood this principle deeply, as Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The Sigma embodies this wisdom by prioritizing accuracy over ego, willingly enduring the discomfort of having his views challenged or disproven. In practice, this looks like actively seeking out the strongest arguments against his position, genuinely considering evidence that contradicts his preferences, or deliberately exposing himself to perspectives that make him uncomfortable. This isn't masochism, it's strategic discomfort embraced for the purpose of building more accurate mental models. The Sigma understands that comfort with being wrong is paradoxically the fastest path to being right. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it accelerates learning and adaptation far beyond what's possible through confirmation seeking alone. While others remain trapped in comfortable but inaccurate beliefs, the Sigma continuously updates and refines his understanding based on new information, regardless of whether that information feels good to receive. This creates a compound advantage over time. The Sigma builds increasingly accurate mental models while others cling to outdated frameworks that feel comfortable but fail to reflect reality. In investment decisions, he adjusts strategies based on evidence rather than narrative. In skill development, he focuses on addressing weaknesses rather than showcasing strengths. In relationship dynamics, he acknowledges patterns even when they contradict his preferred self-image. This capacity to transform cognitive dissonance into growth becomes particularly valuable in rapidly changing environments where outdated mental models quickly become liabilities. In technological disruption, the Sigma updates his understanding rather than defending obsolete knowledge. In market shifts, he adapts strategies based on emerging evidence rather than comfortable assumptions. In personal development, he confronts limitations honestly rather than maintaining flattering self-deceptions. As Seneca observed, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. The Sigma male embodies this principle by embracing cognitive dissonance in the present rather than preserving comfortable illusions that will eventually collapse under the weight of reality. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds an increasingly accurate and adaptable understanding of himself and the world, allowing him to navigate complexity with unusual effectiveness. 11. The Ruthless Priority Filter, Effort Allocation Algorithm. In a world drowning in distraction and performative busyness, the Sigma male possesses an innate algorithm for resource allocation, time, energy, attention, that sets him apart from the perpetually overwhelmed majority. He instinctively triages demands and opportunities, ruthlessly filtering out the trivial, the performative, and the energy-sapping to focus exclusively on what genuinely matters according to his internal value system. This isn't laziness or disengagement. It's strategic conservation designed to channel intensity only into domains that align with core values, long-term goals, or critical problem-solving. What looks like aloofness or disinterest to outside observers is often intense focus reserved for what truly moves the needle, making the Sigma's output disproportionately impactful relative to visible effort. The Stoics recognized the importance of this discernment. As Seneca advised, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The Sigma embodies this wisdom by treating his attention as his most precious resource and allocating it with extraordinary care. In practice, this looks like declining invitations to activities that don't serve his core priorities, ruthlessly eliminating unnecessary complications from his life, or focusing intensely on high-leverage activities while ignoring the merely urgent. This isn't about being selfish, it's about recognizing that saying yes to everything means saying yes to nothing with full commitment and effectiveness. The Sigma understands that extraordinary results come not from doing more things, but from doing fewer things with greater focus and intensity. What makes this trait particularly powerful is how it creates space for depth and mastery in a culture that rewards shallow engagement across too many domains. While others exhaust themselves trying to keep up with endless demands and distractions, the Sigma preserves his resources for what truly matters, allowing him to achieve unusual depth and excellence in his chosen domains. This creates a significant advantage over time. The Sigma develops rare and valuable capabilities while others remain perpetually scattered and mediocre across too many areas. In career development, he focuses on becoming genuinely exceptional in specific skills rather than merely competent in many. In knowledge acquisition, he pursues deep understanding of core principles rather than superficial familiarity with trends. In relationships, he invests deeply in meaningful connections rather than maintaining a sprawling network of shallow acquaintances. This ruthless priority filter becomes particularly valuable in environments characterized by information overload and infinite demands on attention. In daily decision-making, the Sigma quickly distinguishes between what deserves his focus and what can be safely ignored. In project management, he identifies the vital few actions that will produce the majority of results. In personal development, he targets the specific limitations that are actually holding him back rather than trying to improve everything simultaneously. As Marcus Aurelius advised, if you seek tranquility, do less, do what's essential. The Sigma male embodies this principle by continuously refining his filter for what deserves his precious resources and what doesn't. By developing this trait, the Sigma builds a life characterized by unusual focus and effectiveness, making his output disproportionately impactful relative to his visible effort. As we've explored these 11 unconventional traits that give Sigma males their distinctive cognitive edge, I invite you to reflect on which of these patterns resonate most strongly with your own experience. Perhaps you've always been the observer, silently collecting data while others compete for attention. Maybe you've felt that strange disconnect when the crowd chases status symbols that leave you cold. Or perhaps you've recognized your ability to maintain mental clarity when others are hijacked by emotion. These traits aren't badges to wear or labels to adopt. They're natural cognitive patterns to recognize, refine, and leverage as you navigate life's complexities with increasing effectiveness. The power of these traits lies not in their individual application but in how they work together as an integrated system of mental technologies. The observer's mastery feeds the pattern recognition engine. The strategic overpreparation creates space for emotional detachment. The internal compass calibration strengthens the ruthless priority filter. When developed together, these traits create a formidable cognitive framework that allows you to navigate life with unusual clarity, effectiveness, and independence. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes not from controlling external circumstances but from mastering your own mind. And these 11 traits represent different facets of that essential self-mastery. Here at the Sigma Male community, we're committed to exploring these deeper dimensions of masculine excellence that mainstream society either misunderstands or deliberately ignores. We don't offer quick fixes or shallow motivation. We provide practical insights for men committed to developing their full potential through self-knowledge, strategic thinking, and unwavering independence. If you found value in today's exploration, I invite you to deepen your engagement with this community by subscribing, sharing this video with like-minded individuals, and activating notifications to ensure you don't miss our future content. The path of the Sigma Male isn't about fitting in or standing out. It's about thinking clearly, choosing deliberately, and living with integrity in a world that often rewards conformity over authenticity. Remember that developing these traits isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about refining what already comes naturally to you. The observer becomes more perceptive. The strategic thinker becomes more foresight. The emotional master becomes more composed. This isn't transformation, it's amplification of your natural cognitive strengths. As you move through your week, I challenge you to notice opportunities to apply these traits more consciously, to observe more carefully, to prepare more strategically, to question more precisely, to filter more ruthlessly. Small refinements in how you process information and allocate attention can produce profound improvements in your effectiveness and satisfaction over time. Until next time, this is the Sigma Male community, where we don't just discuss excellence, we provide the mental tools to achieve it.